Hi, I'm Holly Scott with the Mullings Group, and I'm fortunate today to have Marie O'Malley, a longtime friend of the firm, here to discuss one of my favorite topics, which is empowering the individual along their career path and taking strides to drive your own career. Marie, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Nice to see you today, Holly.
Nice to see you too. Nice to see you too. Are you in North Andover, in your North Andover home office?
Uh, yeah, my home office, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, so I've been working from home since mid-March.
Mid-March, yeah, like us all. I snuck out to play today in the studio, but we're all remote as well. I appreciate you spending time, as you and I have chatted over the years. To me, the biggest value at this point in my career is giving back and sharing ideas with those who are looking to strategically and tactically think about their career. And I couldn't have started with a more prominent person. Marie has an extensive career in the industry and has built your way actually uniquely with Medtronic as well as with Bard. Can you give us a little background firsthand, Marie, on you and your professional development?
Yeah, sure. So I started, as you mentioned, I've been in the industry a long time, but I started with C.R. Bard in Massachusetts over 25 years ago. And I started out in accounting and finance and worked my way in a number of different positions and then took my first supervisory role doing credit and collections. So I managed a small team doing accounts receivable, calling hospitals to pay their bills. So that was my first track into being a supervisor and a manager. And then I continued to advance my education in accounting and tax and became a certified accountant, and then got the attention of some of the sales leaders that I was supporting. And they hired me to be their business partner. So then I kind of pivoted and went into pricing and commissions and ran customer service for a period of time. And then the business was acquired by EVE, the stent company in California. And then I was at an opportunity to switch roles again. And then I moved into supply chain. And then right after that, the business was acquired by Medtronic. So I've been in a number of global supply chain roles. And then the last 15 years, I've been in supply management, doing strategic sourcing, leading a global team, and now working at a corporate level. So a number of different jobs with the same company.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And what I think is so interesting about you and your career and your development is it's uniquely been positioned within one company. I hear on a day-to-day basis individuals who are concerned. I've been with the company too long. Do I need to move for career development? And I, like you, have been fortunate to feel challenged along the way in one organization. How did you how did you maneuver that? What was any thoughts along the way of how you were able to continue to grow and be challenged within an environment that you got to know so well early on and move up?
Yeah, I guess I'd say early on in my career, I never really envisioned that I would stay with one company. That wasn't really my goal or aspiration. I've been very career focused, but working for a company like Medtronic or other great companies, you've had a similar experience where you have a company that allows you to move in different roles, and you have people that you trust and respect and good leaders. That's kept me at Medtronic for the majority of my career, and I foresee myself staying there for a long time too, because they continue to give me opportunities to take on different roles. And I don't feel like I've worked with the same company. It's changed dramatically over the last 25 years. We've doubled in size. I've been involved in a lot of acquisitions. I've had a lot of unique experiences there that keeps me challenged and motivated. So I would say, it's you want to have a career where you can continue to be challenged and progress and advance. And if you can do that within one company, I think that's great. And there's a lot of value you get out of that, because then you know the business, you know the people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that brings a lot of value to Medtronic, given that I know a lot of people. We've got a lot of new people coming in, which is great too. But, I'm one of those people that's pretty well connected in Medtronic because of my tenure there.
Mm-hmm. Beyond your tenure, I know you're one that individuals reach out to you too in terms of mentorship, engagement, advice, and so forth. Was that given to you, that mentorship opportunity, sponsorship, so to speak? I think is more of a classic name now. Early in your career, or how did you find some of your developmental opportunities and people that were able to help you?
Yeah, I guess I don't think it was really formal, especially early in my career. I think now it's more of a structured program in a lot of companies, but I think I always seeked out people that could give me that advice. And it wasn't always necessarily one person that I would consider being my mentor, but, tap into your network to those that can give you some good guidance or support you in your next job move. I was pretty focused on the accounting and finance track early in my career, even though that wasn't something I was necessarily passionate about. I think I was good at it
Mm-hmm.
and, went to school for that because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but it was a good foundation. And then when I started working for the sales team, they're the ones that really pulled me up and said, why don't you take this role partnering with the sales team and putting proposals together to some of our hospital and key accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was really a big pivot in my career that was done by a few people that championed me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, doing a good job and being at the right place and working with people that really, believed in me and saw that I had potential to help them as well. And that really helped launch my career in a different direction.
That's interesting. That clearly was a tipping point. That particular moment, and again coming back to the audience out there who may be in the position, because I do hear this quite a bit, where someone may be in a functional area and interested in exploring other options. Maybe they're in finance, maybe they're in engineering, maybe they're in marketing, and they're saying, I don't know if this is all for me. I'm not sure. I feel like there must be more, and I'm not quite sure how to bridge over. It sounds like some of that was organic for you within the organization, but do you offer any advice to the individual who might be interested in diversifying their experiences, or stepping outside of what they're teed up to do academically?
Yeah, I guess my one recommendation is to really demonstrate the skills that you have. And a lot of them, regardless of your function today, a lot of those skills can translate and benefit other departments.
Mm-hmm.
So continue to network outside of your direct reporting team and even set up meetings. I have a lot of people that come to me and just want to learn more about what I do, and it may not lead to their next job opportunity, but it gives them some exposure, and then I know them. And then when I hear some of my other fellow leaders that are looking for new people, I can recommend some talent that's just met with me for an informational meeting. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that can be one way to do it. And for me, I was functionally in accounting, but I was assigned to support the sales and marketing team, and just doing a good job and showing them that you could add value in a different capacity, was really a turning point for me. So I think there's a lot of ways it can happen for
Mm-hmm.
you. And, if you do a good job and then continue to network and, just be open to other ideas and directions where your career can go. I think it's really hard for people that are early on. People always ask, what do you want to do in the next 5, 10 years? I think it's hard to define that. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily think you have to always define it.
Yeah, I think people more frequently know what they don't want to do than what they want to do
Yeah.
because of what they're exposed to, what they see in front of them. But that's an interesting piece, and an interesting component of what you're sharing, because that can really be leveraged in any functional area. When you're seated in an organization and you are interested or curious about other areas, it's upon you, it really is within your responsibility to seek out those other areas for exploration. The company doesn't owe you that exposure. You were fortunate to be asked to be part of the sales team, but in many organizations, it's not, that door may not be there. And it might behoove you to ask for some time with sales or marketing, or ask for some time with clinical, or ask for some time with the regulatory team, because getting that visibility and understanding what they do and offering value. Don't ever go to the table with only an ask. Go there saying, look, I want to help, I want to shadow, I want to learn, and I'd be more than happy to support you in any way I possibly can. Even that simple outreach can set you apart from others and get you on the radar of other functional areas within the organization or within the team. And that could be internally or externally, right?
Yeah.
You're fortunate to be within a giant organization that has lots of possibilities and lots of people to tap into. But if you're in a small company and you're sitting in accounting and you're not sure this is right, there's nothing wrong with reaching out. And we loosely say network, but if we peel back and say specifically, reaching out to other individuals that you can learn from, but also benefit and put that benefit first. How can I help them? What can I do for them? What can I assist them with? And maybe it's leveraging what you do in accounting, you know,
Yeah.
and working
No, I
for
think you're
free.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, most times when you do make that offer and, people are happy to talk about themselves and all the great work they do. And
sure.
and then if you can offer them some benefit back, I think, you know, you ask someone, it's pretty rare, I think, that people will say, no, I don't have 15 or 20 minutes to talk to you about what I'm doing and especially if you express interest in that and, present it in the right way and make it easy for them at a time convenient for them. I think most people are willing to do that.
Yeah, no, without doubt, and so it's interesting. Your development, your mentorship, a lot of it started organically. Yet you've been within a organization that has put some formal rails on some of the programs. You're pretty involved in some of those programs. What are some of the things that you're involved with in terms of mentorship and diversity and awareness and organizations to help people and help create that awareness around those areas.
Yeah, I would say, we have put together a number of formal mentor programs. I think a lot of times for me, it comes out better when you have a relationship with someone versus you're assigned a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So I have over the years helped and mentored a lot of people that just come for different advice or input, want to bounce ideas. So I'm happy to do that. And I think, throughout the years, I have people that I meet with on a regular cadence. I have others that just come on having a challenging situation or seeking out advice. So I think, I get value out of that myself. I like helping people kind of navigate their career as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it can take the form of a lot of different roles. And for me, it's not always a one-to-one relationship too. I think that you can get benefit of having, a board of directors to kind of give you input. You use, leverage those team, in different ways. And some people are lucky enough to have, a very close one-to-one relationship that they get value out of meeting on a very regular basis.
Mm-hmm. No, that's so true. It reminds me of Sheryl Sandberg's book where she talks. I don't. Did you read Lean In, where she
I
mentions?
did. I did. I think I stole that board of directors from her.
Well, I also think of the "Are you my mentor?"
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot more palatable for both sides when it's a little more real and again natural, and there is mutual benefit. Um, Setting aside time and asking if you will be is a little sterile for many people. So it's good that you're developing that and you have developed that from that setting and realizing the value of it. And not everyone will have that, right? Coming in as an outsider into the organization and being able to reach out to individuals in certain areas and doing so with respect to their time and respect to the value that you can bring and offer. So yeah, that's interesting, and it sounds like it's been a common thread for you in your development. Yeah. What
Yeah, definitely.
from where you sit, Ori, in terms of professionally speaking and trends, and they could be tied in, where are you focused? Where's some of your priority focus over the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, I guess I've changed into a new role at Medtronic, and now I lead our supplier outreach, which includes supplier diversity and responsible supply management, which is really a emerging area of growing importance to a lot of our stakeholders, a lot of our customers. So that's an area I'm focused on, especially in light of these times too, to make sure that we're giving fair opportunity to the small and diverse suppliers, minority owned, veteran owned, women owned businesses,
Hmm.
which are a big part of our supply base. And then also making sure that we're working with suppliers that are, practicing good labor practice standards and having the same high ethical standards that we expect of our own operations.
That's that's pretty interesting. That's the first I've heard of that, and I'm not saying other companies haven't done that, but that's a progressive mindset. When did that start? When did this new role come into play for you?
I took the role now 3 years ago, but I think a lot of our companies are putting a lot more focus on that. We actually just hired a new chief diversity and inclusion officer.
Hmm. Interesting.
And I think you're going to see more and more of that. People
Hmm.
are understanding that, we have to have an inclusive work environment and really find a way to have that diversity of thought, that's represented in our employees. So I think, and, we feel the same way in our supply base too. We're getting a lot of innovation and
Hmm.
great support and great solutions from some of our small, diverse suppliers. So
Hmm.
I think you'll see that more and more, and you'll hear about that. And I think as we're looking at how we're treating the environment and making sure that employees are being treated fairly, I think that's going to be another area of focus that more companies are going to be spending time on and making sure that, they're working with the right types of suppliers.
That's that's not only a substantial and responsible role, but that's got to make you feel good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting because yeah, we've had it's just logical that diversity is going to increase productivity and increase efficiencies in schools of thought and all of these things we in general I believe in med tech from what I see we embrace those philosophies, but it's great to see we're getting more granular with tactics around it. It's one thing to say this is our philosophy, but actually creating these functional task forces, so to speak, to drive that's great headway.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you've seen it. You've been involved in mathematic women in med tech. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
women aren't as represented as they probably should be. So we're trying to create forums to encourage them to join the industry because I think there's great value in, it's women, it's minorities, it's, all these different diverse backgrounds that we can benefit from. And we want to make sure we have a community that, in a workplace that, supports that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In terms of our careers, I know we've chatted in the past. We've grown a lot and developed a lot and been in med tech together a long time. If you're giving advice to that individual that younger in career that perhaps is considering med tech, as you did early in your career, you got into med tech, but in accounting and finance, you can go into many industries. Do you have any advice for the newer grad or someone who might be younger in career about transitioning into the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start my career in med device. I started in, high tech company, which I didn't really have a great connection with the product. And once I moved into medical device and, saw the impact it had on patients and, Medtronic and even Bard were very mission driven companies. I think, there's a greater purpose and value in what regardless of the role. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and medtech's a great industry to be in, anyways. I mean, it continues to be relatively stable and has some good growth opportunities, and I think it's a place where you can really think about truly making an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Even if your role is accounting and finance, everything is important to ultimately serving the patients.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you can, as individuals in younger in career or even in transition in career, anywhere in career, if you realize where the opportunities are for growth in terms of the industry and in terms of where it's supporting the global population, and in our case, healthcare, and in peeling it back to more specifically med tech, when times are volatile, investment still goes into these sectors in most cases. And in looking specifically within med tech, the areas that we anticipate being of high growth, that's the area to target. And the individual can do that. There's no reason that you can't create a strategy and execute a plan that's targeting organizations of high growth potential based on where the market's going. So medtech has been, again, with me, a personal passion as also, and so many of the individuals like you I know who stay in it and who've been in it for years have plenty of opportunity to cross into other industries, but stay in it for the passion. However, from a business perspective, it tends to be the most resilient too. It tends to be quite
Yeah,
resilient,
sure.
and it tends to be one that can continue to grow in times that are questionable or up and down. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I'd also say, you shouldn't go just because it's more stable or, you think there's more growth. I mean, I would recommend someone looking to enter it to really understand the product lines and, what they're trying to do and make sure that's something you're interested in. I think you have to have some level of passion around it. Otherwise, it may not be the best fit. I
Exactly.
was in, high tech before and it wasn't I felt like it was truly a job and then had the opportunity to get a job at Bard, which is kind of interesting. Back then they didn't want people that didn't have, if you didn't have medical device experience, they weren't interested. We're a little more progressive now and they welcome the diversity of the backgrounds in terms of industry because there's value to that too. But I think I had to interview 5 times before they finally hired me. So
Well, they were lucky to get you five
yeah,
times. They put you through the
yeah.
ringer,
They
huh?
did. I kept coming back. I kept following up and coming back. It was a long process, but they finally hired me.
Well, that's it. We can't take no for an answer in many of these circumstances. That's excellent. Well, Marie, it's been excellent and fantastic having you here today. Thank you so much for your time and for pulling away from, I know, your incredibly busy calendar. But we appreciate it, and hopefully our audience has pulled a few nuggets of wisdom, because when I think about driving your career and I think about individuals out there, you're the fabric of that mantra. You really are. So it's good to have people like you who others can look at and say, this can be done. And it doesn't mean that you have to make moves and don't listen to others. Your career is individual, and you can listen but implement what works for you and what aligns for you. And your road has been quite unique, and just have such respect for everything you've done.
Yeah, well, thank you, Holly. Always great to catch up.
You too. Thank you. Take care.
Okay.
Enjoy. All right.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye.